Now, as record numbers of Aussies are working multiple jobs to make ends meet, there's one group of people who aren't doing it too tough because, while you might have got much of a pay rise in the last year, your boss's 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 boss probably did.
This is how Australia's head honchos look right now. New stats revealing CEOs of ASX-listed companies saw an average pay rise of 14% in the last year, while managing directors saw a salary bump of 11%. That's a tough pill to swallow when the average worker at the same organisations only got a 5% raise.
I haven't had a pay rise in about 2 years, so I'd like to have one.
As a young worker, someone at the bottom of the food chain, I think it's frustrating and upsetting.
Everyone's struggling. Yeah, it's real bad. It's real bad.
Look, it doesn't really pass the pub test. For most Australians, these sorts of figures are pretty eye-watering, to be honest.
It comes as businesses earlier this year argued to limit pay rises for Australia's lowest paid workers to just 2%.
We can't continue to pay hand over fist, in terms of wage outcomes in this country, if we're going to get the inflation outcomes as they should be.
Boss salaries now rising well above the rate of inflation. The average CEO at an ASX 200 company making almost $1.4 million a year, managing directors raking in nearly $2 million.
Obviously, the war for top talent is intense. Our superannuation packets are tied up with these ASX-listed firms, so it's really important for the Australian economy. They're facing into increasingly complex geopolitical environments, regulatory environments, so they are tough gigs and we want the best talent at the helm.
So, do our CEOs deserve their big bonuses, or are their eye-wateringly large salaries out of touch amid a cost of living crunch?
I think it's excessive. Some people are getting that kind of pay rise when the rest of them are kind of struggling.
It just makes me frustrated because the rich just keep getting richer.
We've got tech millionaire and CEO Matthew Camenzuli to tell us all about this. Matthew, were you one of those CEOs who scored one of those sweet pay rises?
No, mate, I've got a private company. It's a small business. I only earn what I can generate. So, unfortunately, not.
Right. Oh, well, sucks to be you then, I guess. Hey? Just a humble tech millionaire. A lot of people think this doesn't pass the pub test, though. Do you think that's fair?
Yeah, look, I don't think it does. I personally believe that particularly in those ASX companies, when we're talking about the very, very big end of town, they're sort of making the majority of their growth out of the Australian public, and they're making the majority of their growth with the Australian public. So I think they're trying to sort of squeeze both sides of the sponge. And really, I think what we've got is, big super propping up their share prices, and then these guys giving themselves great big, pats on the back for having an increase in share price in a market that probably doesn't have enough competition. So, it's almost like shooting fish in a barrel. I don't think it does pass the pub test at all. People are struggling right now to pay their rent, pay their mortgages, put food on the table and forget Christmas.
Matthew, some would say it's not an easy gig. Would anyone want to do it if it didn't come with that $1 million price tag?
Yeah, look, I mean, even owning a business is difficult. I think when you're operating an ASX company, there's all sorts of compliance issues, there's all sorts of problems. It's a difficult job. But I do believe that, people that are motivated and hardworking and career-minded people, most people would want to have those jobs to do good and to actually get out there and, make change. Some of these companies change the landscape of the country. I mean, I think people are motivated by more than just money at that level, and I do think that they'd work for less. Yeah.
What else are they motivated by?
Well, look, I mean, when you're a big end of town CEO, you can influence the narrative. You can change Australia, and I think that if we had more CEOs that were interested in doing good by the Australian public, I think the Australian public would do better.
Matthew, thanks for your time.
Thank you.